All right, welcome back, YouTube. So we have the final review for Delve into Deepholm. We have Paladin, Shaman, and Warrior to go over. Let's jump right into it. We got Sir Finley to Interpret, 3 mana, 2/3, Murloc. Battlecry, if you've excavated twice, transform all enemy minions into Murloc, or to 1/1 Murlocs. This is an awesome effect for only having to excavate twice. And Paladin already has really good, cheap removal stuff, Consecrations, 3 mana now. They have Prismatic Beam too. The fact that this kind of plays along with Prismatic Beam 2 is insane. Like, they have a full board, you transform into 1/1 Murlocs. Prismatic Beam is a full clear, and it's cheap. So that's like virtually no mana to clear out an entire board of whatever you want to clear. And if you and then another, example too with like Shaman, they have Crash of Thunder or Lightning Storm. This is just such a good card to deal with the board on top of having any other really cheap removal that both classes have access to right now. It's an insane card. This is 100% at least a 4 or 5-star card. And we'll see play, like, I almost guarantee this will see play in at least a Highlander, Paladin, or Shaman. It's a little unfortunate that there isn't much more support for, like, Elemental Shaman now, but they kind of geared towards, the Elemental or the Highlander Shaman route with some of these cards here. But lovely cards. This is an amazing card. Shroomscavate is the next spell here for Paladin and Shaman. Yeah, Paladin and Shaman. 3 mana spell, give a minion Wind Fury and Divine Shield, and you excavate a treasure. This is an awesome card. Paladin already has so much, aggression and so many ways to buff the board already that Shroomscavate just puts it on a whole other level, because now they're giving Paladin access to Wind Fury. Like, that's insane. And I also really like this for Shaman as well, specifically Highlander Shaman. The fact that, sometimes Highlander Shaman kind of runs out of tempo. Like, they have a lot of answers for stuff and it just plays very passively. There are times, when you curve out extremely well and you're able to develop a board and just kind of run your opponent over, but that doesn't happen as frequently as you'd like it to. And this kind of allows Shaman to kind of keep a board active, giving their minions Divine Shield and top of Wind Fury, able to deal with the board a little bit easier. And on top of that, it just allows them to push for a little bit more tempo than what they could typically do. So this is an amazing card too. And the random treasures you get on top of that really just adds more to it as well. So another 4 or 5-star card. This card might probably be the first thing you see getting some type of nerf or maybe a rework or something for the cost. This might be a little bit cheap. It is good though that it doesn't have an elemental or a holy or a nature tag. If it had those, I think this card would be on a whole other level. This would be a 5-star card if it did, but I'm gonna keep it 4 or 5. That seems about reasonable with that. That holy or nature, the way that both the decks would be able to abuse this card would be on a whole other thing. Up next is Fossilized Kaleidosaur, 4 mana, 3/4, Undead Beast. Battlecry, gain 2 random bonus effects, and you excavate a treasure. The 2 bonus effects, that's Taunt, Divine Shield, Reborn, Lifesteal, Rush, Stealth, those types of things, right? The fact you get to pick 2 and not just 1 is already really, really insane for 4 mana, because you can get those really good pairings like Divine Shield and Rush, or Divine Shield Taunt, Lifesteal, Reborn. Really good flexible card for Paladin. And if you think about it too, it's Undead and a Beast, so this kind of goes into that one Death Knight card that gets that you discover a Undead and a Beast when you swap the stats, I believe. So this is now going to be into that pool of stuff, which might make the card just slightly better. But how consistent that happens is not very likely. But this is a lovely card for Paladin. Kind of wish this was a dual class card as well, because I think Shaman would really enjoy to have this in their class as well. But it's okay. I definitely think this card's lovely. It's definitely either a 4 or 5-star card. Paladin is probably going to run to this no matter what in any deck, because it's just a solid card. Highlander, then they're going to eat this up as well. So this is a really good card. Up next for Shaman, it's a 4 mana nature spell, digging straight down, deal 8 damage to a minion, excavate a treasure. That's a solid effect. Shaman does enjoy being able to clear stuff pretty easily, and you get the bonus of excavating treasure. I think 4 mana is kind of reasonable for this. There are cheaper removals, and Hex is an option too, and it's cheaper, and you give them a 0/1 taunt. So there's that effect too, where it's like this card might just be a little bit less value than those other cards that could just deal with the board a little bit easier, but it has the benefit of excavating treasure. So I might just make it see play just overall too. But I think this is probably a 2 or 3-star card. It's not terrible. Up next is Aftershocks. It's a 4 mana nature spell. Deal 1 damage to all minions 3 times. Cost 2 less if you've cast this last turn, or if you cast the spell last turn. It's pretty cool. The fact that it's an H spell, so Shaman will be able to discover multiple copies of this, will be really, really strong. And it hits all minions too, so that's something to be aware of. So Warrior might get some bonus from that effect as well. The fact that this will basically always cost 2 mana is insane. This will definitely help at least Warrior and Shaman deal with these really aggressive early game decks like Treant Druid, Aggro Paladin, and any other deck that, has some type of really early push that, this will just allow Warrior and Shaman to have that, be able to deal with that pretty easily. And I mean, there's no overload cost for it either, so that's already really, really big plus side for Shaman and Warrior both. So this is probably a 4 or 5 star card as well. Like, this is going to see playing quite a bit of decks, and I think this card's going to be pretty nutty. Up next is Needle Rock Totem, 2 mana 0/2 totem. At the end of your turn, gain 2 armor and draw a card. This is in comparison to like what Gold Painter right now, which is a 2 mana 1/2 that just draws a card. This virtually is the same thing, but you also gain 2 armor, which just a better effect. It'd be better if it had 1 attack, I think, but there might be that potential where it just sits on the board for a couple turns, kind of like how Barrier Totem kind of does. Where like sometimes they don't have answer for it, and you're just drawing cards and gaining armor. So you're definitely not going to be too bad, too upset playing this. I don't think Warrior is going to see play with this at all, but this might see some play in like Totem Shaman. I don't see this card being overly bad, but it's not as impressive as all this other stuff here. But it's probably a 1 or 2 star card. We'll see playing Shaman. I really don't see Warrior using it. It might just be a solid tempo card for Warrior, just to draw a card. But they have a lot of options now. They their shield block is 2 mana now. They have the Stone Skin Armorer. It draws them 2 card if they gained armor, and that's pretty easy for Warrior to do. So this card is just probably outclassed right now in Warrior. But if they ever lose that draw stuff, this card would probably then see play at that point. But up next to see about the treasures that they get for excavating 4 times is lovely here. We have the Azurite Murloc first. It's a 4 mana 5/5 Elemental Murloc. Battlecry, transform all your other minions into ones that cost 3 or more, keeping their original cost. Now, people are already, kind of confused with this card. They were curious if this also, impacted the hand as well. Judging by, this last line here, I imagine it does. And it kind of makes sense too. I mean, why would they transform something that costs 3 more and keep the original cost like that? And not keep the original cost like that? It doesn't make sense. So this probably hits your board and, well, it does hit your board and also hit your hands, safe to say. It's kind of strange. I don't know why Shaman would want to do this, to be honest. Like, they don't really have much element or evolve support right now. And again, it's kind of weird that they just gave Shaman a bunch of elemental stuff, and then this is the final treasure. It's just a transform effect. It doesn't transform them all into like elementals that cost 3 or more. Stuff like that, where you get like, oh, now I have a bunch of like cheap elementals that I could drop down to 3 mana Nepleton or 3 mana Ragnaros or something like that. I think they definitely fell a little bit short on this legendary treasure here, and this seems kind of bad. I mean, it could maybe see some plays where you get some really big minions and you kind of like push for that big value swing, or that big value turn here. But you play this and then you might be able to play 1 or 2 other things, and this cost whiff is just random minions too. It's not limited to elementals like I was hoping it would be. But yeah, I think this treasure is probably a 2 star card. I mean, they're probably going to play just to get the treasure and the fact that you might get a big payoff with this. But I think I think this might just be a bit too risky to play for Shaman. But up next, the Azurite Dragon. It's a 4 mana 5/5 Elemental Dragon. Give all other minions in your hand, deck, and battlefield +3/+3. Why does Paladin need something this broken? This is on a whole other level too. Like, the fact that it impacts your board immediately when you play this, that's just it's ridiculous. And I mean, also, your deck too and hand. So you're basically like not losing any value playing this card. You're going to have immediate impact right now. And on top of like having what is it, Shrimskavate, how do you pronounce that? You buff up the board and you play that spell onto your already buffed minion. They're going to be able to trade very well, or you're going to hit face twice with a big buff thing that has Wind Fury. Like, Paladin, it's like, this is being on a whole other level when this expansion, or this mini set goes live. Like, I'm very surprised that this is the route they went with the Excavate stuff. I wasn't really sure what they would do with it, because I was like, I don't really see them. Like, I was kind of like trying to speculate it. I don't see. I wasn't really sure which way they were going to be going with the Excavate stuff, judging by like how everything else is here. But the fact that they gave more buff stuff, more stuff that you're not like. If this got that 3/3 buff, this is a 7 or a 6/7 4 mana that gets 2 random bonus effects, and you excavate 2. Like, that's just raised you to think about. And like I don't think Paladin's gonna be on a whole other level. All this Paladin Shaman stuff right here, pretty solid. It is weird Shaman didn't get you know, more elemental support like, you know, people were expecting in the mini set, but definitely think Paladin and Shaman got some pretty good love in this reveal here. But you know, if you guys like the video, don't forget to like and subscribe. Please let me know down in the comments what you guys think of, you know, all these cards here, and also, you know, the 2 Azerite legendary treasures here. But don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you guys for watching.